Stuart, come into the court.
Mary 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 Stuart, come into the court.
Seems we must continue without the presence of the prisoner.
Is that correct protocol, Burleigh? The Queen specifically stated Lady Stuart be heard. Are you daring to go above her head to secure the Scottish Queen?
Do not play your clever word games with me, Lord Leicester. Sir Francis, please read the charges.
Her Majesty Elizabeth, by the grace of God, Queen of England and Supreme Head of the Church of England, having been informed of a horrible conspiracy
Lord Burleigh, Sir Francis Walsingham, what brings you to Fotheringhay this time? More questions?
We are not just here to question you, lady.
Then to accuse me. But questions and accusations amount to the same thing. At least they do when I deal with you, sir. Lord Talbot of Shrewsbury. Lord Leicester.
The commissioners convened as a cause of law to try you.
By whose authority?
The Queen's, of course.
And how do I know that, Lord Burleigh?
We have a personal message to you from Her Majesty. Read it, Walsingham.
Lady Stuart, I have long borne your insults and been caused much worry by your past actions. However, your implication in a new plot to bring about my death has forced me to proceed against you. But fear for my life is not the only reason, and neither do I act out of malice. If I continue to ignore the fact that you are behind all schemes to see me dead, I would be guilty of neglecting the welfare and the security of my realm and of my people. I would also be guilty of forgetting God, to whom I, like all, must give account. You will be heard by the assembled commissioners, and you may reply to the charges. The document is signed Elizabeth the Queen.
So after keeping me prisoner for 19 years, she finally makes her move. But I have been given no warning or time to prepare. Have a secretary take down my immediate reply, Sir Francis. To my royal cousin Elizabeth, you are mistaken in me, for I would not make such a shipwreck of my soul by conspiring against one of my own blood and an anointed queen. I am a free-born monarch, and to use your own words, am also accountable only to God. I cannot be tried by any who are not my equals, and therefore I cannot recognize your Assembly of Lords as a legal court. I will not stand before it, and I will not answer to it. When this document has been written out, Sir Francis, bring it to me, and I will sign it. Mary, the Queen.
Your case will be heard now, Lady Stuart. No letters to the Queen will postpone it.
Very well. I will hear and answer, but I will not be referred to as Lady Mary Stuart. I will be addressed by my proper title, Mary, Queen of all Scotland and the Scottish Isles.
You forfeited that title when you signed your abdication, and by your crimes.
So I am judged even before you try me.
I refer only to your past crimes, which lost you your crown in Scotland. It is new treachery that brings you before this English court. Proceed, Sir Francis.
Her Majesty Elizabeth, by the grace of God, Queen of England and Supreme Head of the Church of England, having been informed of a horrible conspiracy by one Sir Anthony Babington, a papist, and others of the Catholic faith, to bring about the Queen's death by assassination and destroy the Reformed Church of England, has called together this present commission to try the charge that Mary Stuart, formerly Queen of Scotland, was party to the plot and encouraged Babington in his attempt to assassinate the Queen. For that, Mary Stuart is placed on trial for high treason.
It grieves me that Elizabeth is so misinformed of my conduct as to now take such radical course. I have offered many reasonable conditions to obtain my freedom and guarantees of my goodwill towards her. But she sees fit to command me as she would a subject. She cannot. I am her equal.
You are under the protection of English law, and therefore must answer to it.
Protection. The Queen came to England asking for protection, and said she was given prison. Where is the protection in laws she does not know and has never pledged to keep?
Peace, Jane. I do not acknowledge these commissioners. Even the law of England says I cannot.
Lady Kennedy has just said you do not know the law in England. Am I to understand that you are in fact learned in it?
I am not. But I do know that it is enacted that any person who stands arraigned of a crime shall plead before a jury of the accused's equals. Where is my equal among these gentlemen?
And where is the security of the state? If the sword of justice cannot smite all criminals, be they beggars or highborn.
I do not say I'm exempt from justice itself, only from
paid in the pocket judges.
These judges are peers of the realm, and the Lady Stuart should be thankful to the Queen for being so respectful of her rank and person to have appointed such men to hear her case.
They are sycophantic slaves.
I remind you, Lady Kennedy, they are members of the House of Lords.
And I remind you, Lord Burleigh, that this House of Lords, in the reign of my uncle, Henry VIII, made laws one day, then annulled them the next, ratified a marriage, and then as quickly dissolved it. These Lords of Parliament, first under Henry, renounced the Pope, yet retained the old customs. Then under young King Edward they made heretical Protestant reforms, yet under Queen Mary they returned the Mass to the churches. And then they reformed themselves again, by the command of Elizabeth, a woman they first acknowledged as a princess, then declared a bastard, and then made a queen. And you, Lord Burleigh, tell me that these opportunists, who will bend whichever way the wind blows, are fit to be my judges.
The lady claims she does not know our law, but she knows our history well enough.
Whether you like it or not, lady, you are on trial. Proceed, Sir Francis.
What is your plea, lady? Innocent or guilty?
And where is your proof of my guilt?
Babington made a full confession.
Freely, or after he was tortured?
There are also letters.
I have never received any communication from Babington. As well you know, Sir Francis, you read all my letters before I ever get to do so.
Sometimes the methods by which you receive correspondence even outwit me, madam.
There are also your replies.
Let me see them.
Babington destroyed them before he was arrested.
How convenient.
But he confessed he had received them.
You are known for your letter writing, lady.
I have written many letters, but only to obtain my freedom. Anyone wrongfully held captive would do the same. Again, Walsingham knows this. He reads all the letters I send, just as he reads those I receive. I have also written letters on matters of faith, but I have never written to destroy the Church of England, only in the hope that English Catholics be free from persecution. If that is an illegal act, then I am happy to be charged with it, but that is an act of conscience, not conspiracy.
The Queen does not act against others because of their conscience, as long as they are dutiful subjects to the state.
I have never written against the Queen, nor desired her death. So my conscience is clear. And therefore, by your own admission, as Elizabeth does not discriminate because of conscience, she cannot condemn me.
The Stewart has a clever way with words, gentlemen. But I know that she wrote the letters to Babington.
Sir Francis, the spy master, you have long worked to destroy me.
I am a civil servant of the state, and therefore am careful of the Queen's security. So, I have been curious.
Your curiosity, Lord Secretary, knows no bounds. You falsify my correspondence and send your spies to entrap me. You say I wrote letters to Babington, but you cannot produce them.
I know their contents.
How so? You said yourself Babington destroyed them.
Your secretaries are in the Tower. They have confessed that they wrote to Babington on your instruction. They've written down what they remember about letters from him and your replies. They've also testified that you knew of the planned assassination and even advised on how it might be carried out.
were my secretaries put on the rack,
They confessed.
they would not have confessed to something they did not do without torture.
And then there is the other matter,
What other matter?
that you promised certain favours to Babington should he succeed.
That is a vile lie, Walsingham. And well you know it. My lords, I have done with this inquiry, but I am warning you, when you have worked your worst against me, and no doubt you will, before you return your verdict, look to your consciences, and remember the theatre of the world is larger than the kingdom of England. Look to your honour when you judge me. Look to your immortal souls, which will be judged by God. And look to your evidence. When you do that, you will find nothing to convict the prisoner, Mary Stuart.
That did not go according to plan, gentlemen. Outwitted Walsingham, and she made a fool of you, Burleigh.
No matter. We will continue the case in London without her.
This is a bad business, Burleigh. No good will come of it.
What will come of it, my Lord Talbot, will be the required result. The commissioners will condemn her because the Queen requires it.
Because the Queen required it. You should know Elizabeth better by now, sir. None of us ever knows what the Queen requires.
You know, Walsingham, it's not what the Queen wishes that matters here. What Lord Burleigh wants, and he's determined to get.
Sir Amias.
In spite of all my efforts, she still has valuables hidden, and no doubt there are more somewhere. Bribes to buy her escape, and to pay traitors.
This is my mistress's property.
Prisoners have no property, madam.
She is no common prisoner.
As long as Mary Stuart is in my charge, she is a prisoner like any other. Ah,
A trifling paper. The amusement of an idle pen to cheat the idleness of imprisonment.
idleness makes the evil mind busy. It is in French, England's enemy.
Ah, but it is not to the French. It is to the Queen of England.
Another piece to add to the pile.
That is a bridal jewel from her husband.
Which husband she's had free.
Oh, the King of France.
He is long dead. Take it and put up the rest.
That jewel was the last thing to remind her of her past dignity. Could you not have left her that? You have taken everything else. Even books are denied.
She has the Bible.
Your Bible, not hers. You even refuse her a simple mirror.
The reflection of her vanity will incite her to plot new treason.
She is powerless, and so no threat. Why continue to punish her by taking away what are just outward trappings of her past? After all, they are just trinkets and mementos.
Trinkets can be sold to buy support. And mementos only make her proud when she, more than most, should be humble and penitent, as she should have been before the commissioners at her trial.
They are trumped up charges. She has done nothing while in England to be tried for. How can she have? She is shut away from all the world.
But even from her prison, she manages to reach out her hand to light a torch of rebellion. Did iron bars stop her from enticing the traitor Babington? No. So heads are on pikes on London Bridge because of her. And there will be more. England rues a day had ever offered her hospitality.
I do not call prison hospitality.
Mary Stuart came here a murderess on the run, chased out of Scotland by her own people. She champions England's enemies and is determined to take Queen Elizabeth's throne.
No. All my lady
All
did...
your lady had to do was to renounce her claim to the crown of England, and the prison gates would have been thrown open. But she would rather live in confinement, conniving and conspiring. And I am the one who holds the accursed office of guarding her. Day and night I check the gates, test the loyalty of the servants and soldiers in case some new plot is afoot to free her. Oh, I'd rather guard Satan himself than the she-wolf Stuart.
What is happening?
Your Majesty, They have taken your last bridal ornament from Francois.
A diamond does not make a queen, Jane. I have suffered much loss since I've been in England. I can suffer the loss of that too.
They have taken your letter.
Ah, now that is a different matter. Sir Amias, you have taken without my consent something which I intended to hand to you myself, a letter to my royal sister of England. And now that you have it, I only ask that you give it directly to Elizabeth, not give it to Burleigh or Walsingham. The letter begs 3 favours of her: that she will grant me an audience so she may see and hear me face to face. Elizabeth is of my family, my rank, and my sex. To her alone I will unfold my heart, and not to her commissioners.
You have previously entrusted your heart to men much less worthy than the commissioners, lady.
Oh, Sir Amias.
The second favour is to allow me the blessing of the sacraments, which has long been denied.
You have a dean to wait upon you.
I do not desire a dean. I ask for a Catholic priest.
That contravenes the law of England.
I have said this before, sir. The law of England does not apply to me. The third request is one I often make and is seldom ever granted. I continually ask for clothes for myself and my servants, and I am forced again to beg.
Ah, now that score has some use. A gift of clothing has arrived from the Queen, from her own wardrobe, I believe. My nephew will bring it presently.
I am indeed grateful. I also wish for a notary to prepare my will. The wretchedness of prison preys on my life. I would make disposal of what little still belongs to me.
This last request may well be granted. I'm sure the Queen does not desire to enrich herself by plundering you.
Then where are you taking my jewels?
For safekeeping only.
And so you leave me again, Sir Amias, without offering any relief from the suspense. A month has passed since the commissioners came in stealth like ghosts, and like ghosts they slipped away. Since then, I have been told nothing. Let me know what I have to fear, or what I have to hope.
Justice will be done, my Lady Stuart. You may depend on it.
Then the case is not yet concluded.
I cannot say.
You mean you cannot say that it has been? You know, but you refuse to tell me. Very well, I can easily guess. The verdict of the commissioners will be lifelong imprisonment. It cannot be the other. Elizabeth would not dare let them go that far. She would not.
A gift for the prisoner. From the Queen.
Sir Amias, I can bear much from you, but I will not bear that young man's insolence. Spare me having to put up with your nephew in future.
What you call insolence, I would call wisdom. He is no Babington, madam. Your arts and wires will not seduce him.
How dare he?
I listened too easily to flattery in the past. Perhaps it is right that I am sensitive now.
You are melancholy today.
Because it is an anniversary. 20 years since my husband Darling was murdered. But I still feel his anger even from the grave.
Why do you still fear that His Holiness absolved you?
Darnley's spirit still seeks revenge.
You did not kill him.
But I did not stop it.
Darnley's behaviour was insufferable. You raised him above all others. And how did he show his gratitude? With bullying and whoring. He turned against you, so how could you help but turn against him? And when you did he show any sign of repentance? No. He drove you down into even greater depths of terror.
Do not remind me of those dreadful times.
Someone must. You are reminded why you were not at fault. Your secretary, Rizzio, wrung through with swords even as he clung to your skirts. What little you did was only to avenge that bloody deed.
And so with blood it will be avenged on me, as will my greatest sin.
Bothwell, you did not marry your husband's murderer willingly. He forced you into his bed and used the dark arts to do so. At times, evil spirits invade us all to do their devilish deeds. But the ones that caused you to behave so wantonly belong slunk back to hell to keep company with Bothwell. from her own wardrobe. And the Queen of England must wear rags. This is insufferable.
But that is the way she shows her power.
Verdict for London.
Yes.
You said public knowledge.
No, not yet.
And is the sentence death?
Yes. But if I know the Stewart, she will defy us. Will she weep with fear? Something tells me not. God knows what other secrets she's hiding.
Only God, I do not know her secrets.
But she knows our weakness. She knows Elizabeth's resolve could waver.
In one respect, the Stewart is right. Babington and her secretary should have been brought before her.
She has a control over the hearts of men, Paulet. In her presence, they would have recanted their confession and made her their champion.
But if they did not, England's enemies in Europe will, and declare war.
And that is the Queen's greatest fear. That might be avoided, though, if the Stewart were to die by sickness, or some other misadventure, and not the seal of the Queen on a warrant.
Even if she died of natural causes, the Catholic kings of Europe would still call us murderers.
Yes, but they'll make less noise about it, Amos. If the Stewart is brought to her end, there will be an international outcry against you, and me, and all the others who brought a Queen to her end. Now, we can sidestep accountability. Politicians and civil servants like us, in situations like this, always do. But the Queen cannot. Elizabeth gives the orders and signs the warrants. She also knows she has a duty to exert the royal privilege of mercy. Can she let Mary live? No. She is in turmoil, Amos. She is afraid to speak her mind. But her looks ask, is there another way to get the result without making the decision?
The decision cannot be avoided.
It could be.
How?
By acting on a silent mandate. My good man, you were appointed Mary Stuart protector when Talbot of Shrewsbury grew too old and too soft for the job. You have the Queen's trust. Therefore you can perhaps arrange.
Arrange what?
You might spread the word that the Stewart has fallen ill. Follow that with news she grows worse. And Elizabeth has sent her own doctors to attend her. Then, after an appropriate passage of time, it is announced that Mary Stuart has, because of the sickness, expired.
No.
I do not ask you to take part. Turn a blind eye.
Lord Burleigh, if the time comes when the warrant, signed by the Queen, is delivered to me, I will allow the carpenters to build a scaffold in my hall, and the gates will be open to the executioner. But before then, while Mary Stuart is under my roof, my duty, unpleasant as it is to protect her life, and not allow an assassin to end it.
Then you're a naive fool, Paulet. Times like this call for political manoeuvring, not principles or morals.
You cannot enter here.
Let me pass, man. I will see the prisoner by the authority of my uncle. Lady Kennedy, to the passageway, keep watch. I must speak with the Queen.
Do not move, Jane.
Is this what she sent? Leavings. Enough with those. I also bring you this.
From my uncle Guise in France. Confide in Mortimer, who brings you this letter. You have no firmer friend in England.
Retire, Lady Kennedy. See that no one comes in unannounced.
Go, Jane, do as he bids. Do I find a friend in the nephew of my jailer who has behaved so insolently?
Forgive me, Your Majesty. That was a mask which has been painful to wear, but only because of it have I been able to gain access to you and your freedom.
This is another of Walsingham's traps.
It is no trap. As you know, I've just returned from travelling in Europe. When I arrived in Rome, there was a religious festival.
Go on.
There were crowds of palmers filling the streets, bearing along brightly coloured images, garlanded with flowers. It was as if all of mankind was making a pilgrimage to heaven itself. I joined the throng. My Puritan religion tolerates no images and condemns the charms of the senses. But as the procession approached St. Peter's, heavenly music floated in the air from walls and ceilings, celestial images and figures and sculpture formed an endless train, and then I felt the true power of the creative spirit. Here were the great images of God, the Annunciation, the Virgin Mother, the Nativity, the Passion. And amongst all of this splendour came the Pope and all the glory of his office. What use is all the gold, pomp and jewels with which the kings of the earth surround themselves? Only the Holy Father is divine, only his house a heavenly kingdom, for nothing in it can be of earthly making.
Enough. I beg of you. You paint such rich pictures. Remember, I can only look at the bare walls of a prison.
And I was a prisoner also. But the moment I stood in St. Peter's, my Puritan prison gates flew open and my soul had liberty. I made new friends amongst the Italians and the French, and through them I was brought to that great prince of the church, your uncle Cardinal of Guise. He took me into his palace, and with his guidance I returned to the true faith.
God be praised.
There was a portrait in his palace that at once caught my eye. Its face was wondrous. Its magic moved my very soul. Your uncle caught me looking at it. The most beautiful of women, he said, but also matchless in calamity.
What more did he say to you?
Lady Kennedy. Is anyone close by?
Guards are down by the outer door playing dice.
We'll keep watch and warn if they come near.
Do as he asked, Jane.
Go. He said that you alone have the right to rule England, not the child of the Berlin whore. I didn't trust his word alone. I asked scholars, and all confirmed the validity of your claim. This kingdom in which you live as prisoner is yours to rule by right.
But a very unhappy right, because that is the cause of my suffering.
My lady, it is just 10 days since I stood before your portrait, and now I stand before your royal self. A miracle! Oh, sweet lady, it is such prudent policy by the Tudors to keep you locked away like this. For if the common men of England saw you as I do now, all would rise in your cause. Not one sword would stay sheathed in a rebellion that would make you their queen.
You speak too rashly, sir. I do not desire to be Queen of England. I only desire my freedom.
But you will have your freedom. Yet, to business. Danger grows by the hour. I have news.
The verdict. Is it pronounced?
Burleigh arrived from London this morning.
And?
Guilty, Your Grace.
So I was right. They would keep me in lifelong imprisonment.
That was not.
No. The commissioners may pronounce what they will, but she would not dare let them do that.
She is being forced to. Both the people and Parliament are baying for your blood.
Does she think of the revenge France will exact?
She has thought of that. She is arranging a treaty with France and offers marriage to the Duke of Anjou.
Then the King of Spain will rise up against
her.
her.
She has the support of her people. She need not fear Spain.
Am I condemned to die in broad daylight? On a public scaffold before the common people? Or has it been decided a murderer will come? Alone. In secret and cloaked in the night's darkness. That is what makes me most afraid, Mortimer. not the scaffold, because I know she will not do it that way. Before a public executioner is appointed, a private assassin will be hired. I have lived with that fear for years. Till now she has not sent a killer, but till now I was not condemned by her court.
There is no need to fear her any longer. Freedom is all but secured. Aubespine, the French ambassador, offers his assistance. I have men ready.
You?
Yes. I will save you. I have been sent by heaven to do it and to set England's crown upon your head.
Your words fill me with foreboding, not of a crowned head. Heads stare out on pikes from London Bridge because of Mary Stuart. If you value your life, Mortimer, do not offer me help.
I am not afraid of the heads on London Bridge. The only life I value is yours.
My enemies are everywhere, and they are watchful. Only Elizabeth's mercy can free me.
Do not expect that.
That is all I can expect. No. I am wrong. There is one who could help.
Yes, myself.
No, not you, dear impetuous Mortimer.
But who then?
Robert Dudley.
The Earl of Leicester. That arrogant popinjay. He's Elizabeth's favourite, her sweet Robin. One of the commissioners.
If I am to be
voted-
saved, he will do it. We were close once. More than close. And I had fond letters from him before the fear of Walsingham's spies made his writing too dangerous. Go to him, Mortimer. Confide in him, and as proof you come from me, take this.
Your portrait brought me to save you. Now I will take it to a man who voted for your destruction. It makes no sense.
Will. Mortimer, it will. The action of the public man is not the aims of the private one. Confide in him, and he will confide in you.
Sir Amos is on his way to Warburton.
Stay a step ahead of them, Your Majesty. They will be disarmed.
Explain yourself, sir. The clothes sent to me by Elizabeth cannot be these rags. So is this some joke of your own devising?
What you see is what you get, ma'am.
Take them and yourself away.
As you command, Your Majesty.
That boy is insufferable. Jane, go after Mortimer and tell him he is to give those dresses to the villagers. They can do with them what they see fit. Lord Burleigh, to what do I owe the honour of your visit?
Lady Stuart, you asked me today for the decision of the commissioners. Lord Burleigh brings it.
If Lord Burleigh brings it, then I know it already. I have been found guilty by a court that had no legal authority to convict me, and the sentence of that court is that I am condemned to death, a sentence it is powerless to carry out.
Because you stood before the commissioners, you acknowledged their jurisdiction.
I never acknowledged the commissioners, as well you know.
Do you not acknowledge justice?
My lord, you are selfless in your service to the Queen and the realm, but do not mistake the welfare of the state for justice. That only the Protestant judges were appointed to try Catholic is a clear case of that point. But also, how can it be justice for English men to try Scotswomen? When were the English ever just or impartial to the Scots and vice versa? Across our shared border these past thousand years, two nations have fought each other, staining the earth red with blood every time they meet. When they are not engaged in battle, they keep watch, ready to strike. Every enemy of England has always had Scotland's support, while the English are never slow to interfere when civil strife flares up in Scotland. And this enmity will never stop, until one parliament can unite these two kingdoms in concord and under one crown.
And that crown worn by a Stewart.
I confess I once harboured hopes, as Elizabeth's rightful heir, to bring together our two realms in lasting peace. Little did I think I would become a victim of their age-old hatred.
Oh no, what you hoped, lady, was to set England on fire with rebellion and take the throne by force.
If you think that, then show me proof of it.
You have already had it. Babington's confession, your secretary's confession, the letter...
Forgeries and fictions created by tortured minds and bodies.
They confessed under sworn oath.
They did not swear that oath before me.
The Babington plot is not your only guilt.
Yes, but it is because of that plot alone that you have used the force of law against me. So stick to the point, my lord.
You have planned all number of conspiracies to overturn the religion of this realm and invited foreign powers to invade.
I did not come to England with a sword in my hand. I came begging charity from my royal cousin and was given chains. I am kept here in contravention of the law of all nations. I would call it a right to attempt to free myself from unlawful incarceration. To raise the powers of Europe to fight might with might and secure my freedom, I would call justice. Again, we come to that word, justice. But justice is not the question here. The question here is power, the power of the state over a helpless prisoner.
Power is seldom ever on the side of the prisoner, lady. But you debate wider matters than your particular case. You have just told me to stick to the point, and now I say the same to you. The point is, you have been tried, have been found guilty, and have been sentenced.
That may be so, but only Elizabeth can enforce that sentence. And the real point in all of this, Lord Burleigh, is that she will not do it. And I know she will not. Because by cutting off a crowned head on the executioner's block and letting it roll in the straw, she and all her royal dignity will roll in the straw with it. And worse, she will be known for all time as a murderer of her own flesh and blood.
The Queen has power. If she decides to use it, you cannot stop her.
Yes, I am weak and she is strong. Very well, let her destroy me. But let her do so through exercising her power alone, and not in the name of justice. Let her not cloak the removal of her enemy in religious garb either, or employ other juggling tricks to hoodwink the world. She cannot hide behind pretended virtue. No, she will have to emerge from the shadows to act. And when she does, the whole world will see her for what she really is.
Our rough entertainment, dear Count Aubespine. We cannot match the splendors of the French court here, nor its many beauties, who, I hear, eclipse all other ladies in Europe. But then, I am too poor in the pocket to make such pageantry, and my English charms are perhaps of a more modest nature than those of your French ladies.
Pedantry is nothing, Your Majesty, and England needs only one lady to enchant us. All female beauty and grace, French or English, rich or poor, is united in yourself alone.
You Frenchmen are such flatterers.
Your Majesty, will you give your answer so I may take news back to the Duke of Anjou? He is so impatient, he has ridden to Calais so he may learn all the quicker that you accept him and love him.
Do not press me further on this matter. The marriage torch cannot be lit while the heavens lie black and heavy over this land. A more fatal blow than Cupid's arrow can inflict is aimed at my heart and at my house.
Then we only ask Your Majesty to promise your hand to the Duke when brighter days do come.
Monarchs are mere slaves, Aubespine. They cannot listen to the dictates of their hearts. It was my wish that my epitaph would read, "Here lies Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen." But my people are not content with that. They demand a sacrifice, my virgin liberty, and would force a lord and master on me. I thought I governed as well as any man. But it seems my subjects regard me only as a woman, whose only duty is to provide them with an heir.
You have done a great honor to your throne, Your Majesty. There is no man alive who wishes you to sacrifice your freedom. Yet, there is one with a hero's heart, of status and lineage, and blessed with manly beauty, who is worthy of you, Francois of Anjou.
I do not doubt that a match with a royal son of France is a worthy union. If, when I am forced to yield to my people's wishes, I would not name any other prince of Europe to whom I would rather yield my greatest treasure. Let that be enough for your master, for now.
That will give him hope, Your Majesty, but he desires more than that.
What more can he desire? Well, he shall have a token. A ring signifies marriage, but it also represents duty and servitude. It is of rings, sir, that chains are made. Send this to your master, tell him it is only one ring, but of it may grow a chain to bind me to him.
This is indeed a joyous day.
However, tell him this also. If France is truly anxious for this match, it must renounce all alliances with my enemies, especially the former Queen of Scotland.
But, Your Majesty, it would be unworthy of France if we no longer gave regard to the widow of our late king, and a fellow Catholic, and your cousin.
I take note of France's position. And I tell you, sir, that my position on the matter is as Queen of England, not as cousin or Protestant or prospective bride. And it is as Queen of England that I shall act. Oh, Count Aubespine, I forget myself. I have another gift for the Duke. I have written some verses for him. My care is like my shadow in the sun, follows me flying, flies when I pursue it, stands and lies by me, doth what I have done. His too familiar care doth make me rue it. No means I find to rid him from my breast, till by the end of things it be suppressed. I know the Duke to be wise. I would know what wisdom he finds in these lines. Go now. Arrange for your messengers to leave Dover at once. The Duke should not be kept kicking his heels in Calais, waiting for your news. Well, Burleigh, are you satisfied with my sacrifice?
Well, Your Majesty, when you marry, you give your people their greatest wish. But there is another sacrifice your subjects demand. Grant us that, and we'll be truly secure.
Yes, yes. They want the head of Mary Stuart almost as much as you do.
If we are not to live in continual fear for your life, she must die. Her uncle Cardinal of Guy sends his Jesuit assassins here in secret. There have been 3 attempts on your life already, and there will be more, as long as that woman inflames men to martyr themselves in her cause.
Suffer or strike?
Yes, you must strike, Your Majesty, and strike now.
There has been enough of bloodshed in my late sister's reign. I will not have it in mine. My Lord Shrewsbury, can you offer me milder counsel?
No country should achieve a political result by sacrificing its moral integrity.
Oh, heaven forbid we should do that.
I do not wish to question your authority, Your Majesty.
Then do not. Continue, Talbot, but have a care of what you say.
I must say what my conscience dictates, Your Majesty.
Very well, speak, old man.
Even if most of the world was in agreement, a majority is no proof of justice. Do not say you act out of political necessity or as the will of the people. The tide of public opinion ever ebbs and flows. Do not listen to the politicians or the people. In the end, listen to the dictates of your own merciful heart.
You are a strong advocate for our enemy, sir.
I'm not afraid to be the voice of mercy when mercy is silenced in your councils by self-interest. course, I do not condone her crimes she committed in the past, but they were in a different country. Times of civil war, when she was helpless before rough crowds and rebellious lords. A woman is a weak and fragile thing when faced with the power of men.
God's blood, Talbot, now you go too far. How dare you speak to me of female frailty? I am a rock that bends to no wind. And so long as you are in my presence, I forbid you to speak of women's weakness.
Your Majesty, you were brought up in the shadow of the scaffold, with no flatterers to turn your head. Mary Stuart was a child in a French court that valued only levity, thoughtless pastimes, and she was a beauty surpassing all other women.
She must indeed have charms beyond compare, if they can put such fire into an old man's blood. You have not spoken, Lord Leicester.
I have been shocked into silence, astonished that Burleigh would be so afraid of a stateless queen who was the butt of all jests about whores and Jezebels. But what in heaven's name can make her so formidable? Her claim to your throne. You are queen by direction of your royal father's will, which sets out a line from which her name is absent. Would Protestant England throw itself back into the darkness of papacy, replace its monarch with a murderess? Burleigh also pushes you about the succession. He can't get you married off soon enough to secure it, but I say take time on both mans. Do not rush into a French marriage, and you can stand still on the question of Mary Stuart. She'll stumble towards the grave by herself. You do not need to push her into it.
You've not always held that opinion, my lord. Why the change of heart?
No, because now we need not fear her. France must abandon her if it wishes a treaty with England. My advice is to let the sentence stand, but let her live, and in the shadow of the axe.
You speak true, Robin. If France no longer supports her, then the wasp has lost its sting.
Sir Emer's Paulet is here to see you, Your Majesty.
Ah, good. Now we shall hear what has been happening at Fotheringhay. You are welcome at court, Sir Amias.
Gracious sovereign.
Oh, but who is this?
My nephew, Edward Mortimer.
Long live your majesty. May happiness and glory crown your royal brow.
We have heard of you, sir. I understand you have been travelling in Europe, in Italy as well as in France.
News of my travels has arrived before myself.
I trusted Walsingham was interested to know what you were doing while away. He tells me you spent time in the household of the Cardinal de Guise. How fares my enemy, Mortimer? Why his guest?
To further your cause, ma'am. By pretending to show sympathy for Mary Stuart, I was able to win his trust and was made confidant to all of his conspiracies, as well as those of the Scottish Catholic Church.
Oh, what plots are my enemies hatching now?
France might abandon them, so they look to Spain.
Yes, yes, Walsingham told us of this. Oh, get up, man.
Also, a papal bull against you arrived for the cardinal as I was leaving. He'll be arranging for it to be sent to your enemies here.
We should be more afraid of a Jersey cow than people bulls.
Well said, Robin.
Yet these things can be dangerous in the wrong hands.
Which, Lord Burleigh? Papal bulls in the hands of fanatics, or cattle in the hands of farmers?
Walsingham also had information that you had converted to the Catholic faith while away.
And he pretended to.
You heard,
Further your cause.
you heard the Mass.
Much against my Puritan conscience. Why do you ask?
I do not question your conscience, sir, but your soul must be confused as to what side it is on.
Your Grace, I have a letter for you from the Lady Mary Stuart.
Oh, what does she want now? More dresses?
No, she asked
Give it to
to
me.
I gave my word to deliver it only to the Queen.
What has she written?
She asked for an audience of the Queen.
Emer.
Why not? That is a reasonable request.
She has forfeited all rights to such a meeting.
Look, if the Queen agrees, you can't stand in her
Do
way.
you not see? If the two of them meet, the sentence cannot be carried out. The presence of the Queen always grants the prisoner pardon. That is the custom of England.
I am surprised at you, Burleigh. You more than anyone should know that custom and law is not the same thing.
Queen of Scotland is 6 days old, then Queen of France, and then the grasping ambition of her flatterers caused her to reach for a third crown, mine. How arrogantly she flaunted her claims and her position. But now she is brought low. She seems penitent. My heart is torn.
She has atoned for her crimes, Your Majesty. Let God's mercy enter your divided heart. Agree to a meeting.
Do not be misled by her false humility, Your Grace. You must act as political necessity dictates and keep your distance. You cannot save her, so if you do meet with her, you will only be accused of gloating over your victim.
Burleigh, remember who you are. The Queen decides this, not you. This meeting has nothing to do with customs, courts, or the law of England. It is a meeting of two queens and two cousins. Let royalty and blood ties, not your precious politics, dictate it.
Withdraw, all of you. Leave me to my own counsels. Mortimer, a word. You know, more than my closest advisors, how much my enemies hate me, plot and scheme. So far, God has protected me. But while she lives, I tremble in constant fear.
Then she must die, Your Majesty.
But I must authorize the execution. And the worst of it is the blame that will forever be associated with my name, even after I am long dead myself. But that might be avoided if I can save appearances.
Appearances?
What we openly seem to be is judged by all, but what we in fact secretly are, by none. If my cousin's death could be forever wrapped in uncertainty and doubt, why then perhaps...
Then perhaps it would be best if... Have you spoken with my uncle about this?
Not directly. I asked Burleigh to broach the subject with him.
And?
The suggestion was not to his liking.
Well, he is an old man and therefore has a conscience. This venture needs the heart of youth.
Then perhaps, heartful youth, I may venture to put my hope in you to save my reputation.
You may.
Oh, my good Mortimer, you are so young, and yet you have the self-confidence of a mature man. And you have learned to play the dissembler as well as one much older. I can see that fortune will call on you to do great deeds. If only, after another night of troubled sleep, the morning would bring me the news that Mary Stuart had breathed her last.
Your Majesty, all that I am and all that I can do will be in your cause.
When can I sleep calmly?
By the next new moon.
Then Godspeed, good Edward. You will be well rewarded. But do not be hurt if my gratitude is hidden. Silence is the happy suitor's god, and the closest and dearest bonds are those formed in secrecy.
And you call me the dissembler, when it is you, lady, who is the mistress of the devil's deceit itself. You assume a public show of mercy while plotting her murder in secret. You would use my arm while keeping yours concealed. You offer offer me advancement. If you offered me the crown, I would scorn it. Oh, I will not betray her. I will bring you, the bastard, down instead.
Nephew?
Oh, here, uncle.
What does the Queen want with you?
Nothing of consequence.
When the Queen speaks in private, everything is of consequence.
I think that she favours me, that is all.
The Queen has a weakness for a pretty boy's face. But do not trust her favours. She will deny you if she has to, and not hesitate to send you to the scaffold for the murder in order to save herself.
Murder? What murder?
The one the Queen has just asked you to commit. Have you agreed? My Christ, boy, have you?
Uncle!
If you have, then I curse you to my grave and beyond it.
Gentlemen, I have instructions from the Queen as the future guardianship of the Stewart.
So it begins so soon.
What does?
Nothing of consequence.
The Queen believes the burdens of office weigh too heavily upon a man of your age, Sir Angus. She instructs that your nephew Mortimer be entrusted with the custody of the Scottish Queen. She is confident she can rely on him.
Rely?
Yes.
Very well. But be warned. My eyes, old as they are, will be watching. With danger.
Forgive my uncle. The trust that the Queen has so suddenly shown in me has unnerved him.
And are you deserving of that trust?
I would ask the same of you, Lord Leicester.
Don't understand you.
I would speak with you on a private matter, but have I your assurance that I may speak freely, without fear?
Have I yours? I have no reason to trust you. You've shown one face to the Queen's enemies and another to her court. One must be false, but which?
I'm of the same opinion of you.
Which of us then will trust the other first?
He who does first will be in the least danger.
Oh, you then.
No, you. You are a powerful man.
If I place my trust in you, I could become the weakest man at court.
And you can destroy me in a single strike if I make any accusation against you.
Accusation?
I know you have feelings for the Queen of Scots.
That is a lie.
This is for you.
Her portrait.
From now, I begin to trust you.
I take it you know what this means.
No. It is a mystery to me as to why Elizabeth's favourite and the one who condemned that queen to die should look so dotingly upon her face. But she has told me that you will explain.
Firstly, you explain your interest in her.
Her freedom.
Of course, wounds. Man, speak softly.
I have converted to her faith, and she has given me her trust. Before I continue, you must give me yours.
I must be cautious at all times. Burleigh suspects me. He watches my every move so he can strike. Even you might be his net to ensnare me.
I am not one of Burleigh's agents. I work only for the Queen Mary, and she has told me that you will help. If that is so, Lord Leicester, I am entitled to know why.
Circumstances have forced me to appear as her enemy. I was to be her husband, not done, but I turned my back on her in a consort's crown. Scotland's crown matrimonial was not as great a prize as that of England.
And now you have had a change of heart.
I have courted Elizabeth for years. Long, tedious years, suffering her moods and indulging her selfish whims. At one moment she is loving, but then she pushes me away. I'm her sweet Robin, and then shouted at like a servant, but I felt with all of this for the sake of the prize, the crown, and now along comes this Frenchman, Anjou, who is little more than a boy, who will steal it from me.
I hear that he is handsome, and I have been told, just recently in fact, that the Queen has a weakness for a pretty boy's face.
If I could get at him, I would soon rearrange his youthful good looks.
He is also the son of Madame the Poisoner, the Serpent Medici, so will be trained in all the sinister arts and will be a formidable opponent.
But now amongst all of this misfortune, the Scottish Queen throws me a lifeline. A miracle. She pardons me and promises herself.
You mean offers you second prize?
Images of her beauty have never left me. When I saw her before the commissioners in that court, I was horrified to see how she'd been reduced to such misery.
And yet, you condemned her. No, the miracle that will save her happened to me in Rome, and I will be the one to save her. If it wasn't for me, you'd know nothing of all of this.
I had no choice but to condemn her, but I had no intention of allowing her to go to her death, and since access to her has been all but impossible, I could not tell her, but now you are to be in charge of her. Another miracle. I can work on getting Elizabeth to show mercy and arranging her freedom.
That way has already been found. Even before I take over my uncle's office, I will deliver her to you, and your trust and support will ensure that I succeed.
How?
We will force her prison gates open.
That is a rash enterprise.
I have friends, all is ready.
Friends? Do they know my secret?
No. Our plan was made without you in mind, and without you it would have been accomplished. But she has insisted that you be included.
Mortimer, swear to me that my name cannot be seen connected to this enterprise.
You have my word. And why so scared? You want to free her and marry her, don't you? Now you find that heaven sent friends to help you do it.
No, this is way too dangerous.
Dangerous. We only want to free her. You want to marry her. That is dangerous.
There are snares set all around, traps.
Then we will step around them.
But there are too many obstacles.
Then we'll be courageous and overcome them.
Now, this is pure madness, not courage.
And your prudence is not bravery.
If you fail, she falls with you.
If we do not take that risk, she will die anyway.
Your haste will destroy my own, more careful plans.
Plans? Where are your plans? And tell me this, Lord Leicester. If I was to stoop so low as to murder her, which was just proposed to me, what would you do to protect her?
Has Elizabeth given you such an order?
Yes.
And she thinks you will. Good. No, this buys us time.
No, she wants it done as soon as possible. We are losing time.
The Queen now relies on us to act, and she must wait until we do. But while she waits, in the knowledge it will be done, she'll hear my plea of mercy. I will convince her to see Mary, and thus we tie her hands.
And what happens when Elizabeth finds out that she has been duped? No, we act in one strike and be done with it. You can raise your own army along with a retinue. Other noble families simply wait for the signal, and when they do, I will be on hand to release the Queen.
Are you such a fool? You see yourself as a knight from some chivalrous past. Chivalry and honour do not exist in today's political tournaments, Mortimer. We do not wear hearts openly on our sleeves. We must work in secrecy, stealth, and above all, caution.
So I am to return to Fotheringhay with messages of empty comfort.
Tell her of my undying love.
Tell her that yourself. My task is to free her, not play Cupid.
I will make sure that Elizabeth sees Mary, and I will be there when she does, to secure her freedom.
Well, in that case, you better ensure that your pockets are full of your little miracles.
Was that young Mortimer with you just now, Robin?
Yes, yes it was, Your Majesty.
You look startled. Did I interrupt?
Oh, no, I'm just out of sorts.
Why so?
Because my loss.
Your loss? A possession? Then let us seek together until we find it. Westminster has many dark corners where things cannot be seen.
There is no need to search. You already possess what I have lost.
But I have nothing of yours about me.
have lost yours to a younger royal husband-to-be, and I am miserable because there is no one on this earth who loves you as much as the one who is to lose you.
Sweet Robin, my heart is lost also. If I could choose, I would make the man I love the most my king. The Queen of Scots did. Of course, I had the same right to such indulgent delights. But I chose duty. Now she is in her prison, where she still plays the same selfish games. Grown men become lovesick fools. And I am in my palace, still unable to choose whom I would marry. Tell me, Robin, is she as beautiful as they say? Oh, I've seen portraits, I've heard descriptions, but pictures can flatter, and reports can lie. I hear she is taller than I.
Oh, she is indeed of greater height.
Then she is too tall. Her colouring?
Similar, you are true cousins in that respect, though perhaps she is a little bit fairer.
And she's too fair. Although I would need to see for myself to judge properly. Why are you looking at me like that?
I am thinking what would happen if, in strict secret, hidden from all public eyes, Bess Tudor and Mary Stuart saw each other face to face.
What if they did?
Well, Elizabeth would find the answer as to who is the greater beauty. As well, the Stuart would be humbled for her royal power. You would triumph on both scores.
She is younger than I, and therefore must have the advantage in beauty.
Her frivolous past and prison situation have aged her, but you are the ageless Gloriana.
I am almost persuaded to have such a meeting. But not for those reasons. I would ride north to tell her what a fool she has been, and what danger she is in.
She begs the meeting as a favour, granted to her as a punishment. See you in your splendour, and as you've said yourself, she is a woman before she is a queen. Therefore you have another advantage over her. She's been 3 times a bride, her greatest match to the French Dauphin. Facing her, a queen who has lost a crown would hurt, but facing her as a bride of France would destroy her. The time is right. This must be done, and done now.
Now? Oh, no, not now. I must have time to think.
There is no time.
I must consult with Burleigh.
Burleigh will only give you the advice a counsellor should give a queen. This is a matter between 2 women.
It would not be fitting to see her in want and in prison.
Oh, then do not see her thus. The hunt tomorrow goes close to Fotheringhay. The Stewart could be permitted a rare day of freedom to enjoy the park. By mere coincidence, you pause nearby.
No, I cannot see her.
She'll be some distance off when you first arrive, so you can change your mind and ride on. Nothing need be forced on you.
Very well, I agree. No, I say yes, only because today I cannot be so hard of heart as to deny you. I've hurt you by my coming marriage, sweet Robin, and your hurt hurts me. And so I will indulge you in this matter of a meeting with Mary Stuart. It is a foolish plan, my dearest fool, but your own Bess is of a mind to be foolish with you.
Madam, I can't keep up.
like children. Can you smell that, Jane? Sweet, heavenly, fresh air and fresh, good earth.
Your prison walls are only hidden by those trees.
And I thank the trees for it. Oh, Jane, indulge me. Do not wake me from this dream. See how the clouds scurry across grey, cold England, hurrying southwards. South, Jane, to warm and gentle France. Look, a fisherman rowing over the lake. Could he save me, do you think? Ferry me across the water? He looks poor. I would make him rich. He would not need fish in his nets for his family to live if he saved a queen.
These are dangerous thoughts. We are being watched every second and very probably followed.
Oh, that may be so. But a few hours' freedom is a harbinger of better times. And I think I know who is responsible for it. Lord Leicester. Through his influence, the authorities will give me ever increasing freedom, slowly, until the day I see him. And that will be the day he comes to escort me on his arm from my prison.
Sentenced to die one day, given freedom of the park the next. It makes no sense. It's just sympathy. The condemned prisoner is often treated more gently, just before death.
Did you hear that, Jane? A hunt! Oh, what memories that sound evokes. The woods of Chambord, even the heather of the Highlands. What is that rhyme? Welcome in the break of dawn with horses, music, hounds, and horn. See, Jane? A new crown. And now I shall make a necklace for you.
No doubt you have heard the horns.
Sir Aeneas. Yes, a hunt.
The Queen is riding it, and it will pause nearby.
What?
She'll be here in a few minutes.
Why was I not warned? Come, Jane, we will go back to the castle so I can compose myself and collect my thoughts. I must change my gown.
You stay where you are and as you are, madam.
My Lord Talbot, I cannot. I will not see her.
Your Majesty, be calm. This is too important a moment to let pass. Now you must prepare yourself.
I have prepared over and over again. I have committed to memory every word I plan to say that might move her. The words were to be humbly and calmly spoken, but now all hell's demons are demanding to tell her how I hate her.
Hostility will achieve nothing. If you wish to win her favour, you must submit.
I have prayed a long time for this moment, but only now I see it will be my destruction. It would be more possible for water and fire to fall in love, or a lion to embrace a lamb.
But you did not see how tearful and moved she was when she read your letter. I have come on ahead of the others because I suspected that you'd react like this.
What others?
All the hunt will stay back. Only Lord Leicester will attend the Queen.
Leicester. Then all will be well and God be praised. I knew he would do it.
Do what, my lady?
The rest of the party back, Robin.
Lord Shrewsbury, we will seek some refuge here. My people are overfond and treat me more as a god than as a mortal.
Speaks of face with no heart.
Who is that lady?
You are at Fotheringham, Your Majesty?
Which of you has done this?
Your
Leicester?
Your Majesty, see how wretched she looks.
I see no wretchedness. I see only haughtiness in one who should be humble.
And I see that heaven's mercy has chosen to crown you with triumph. And God himself has raised you far above me. Now, sweet sister, will you in turn be merciful? Offer your royal hand so you may raise me from the depths of my distress.
You are where you should be, Lady Stewart. I thank God who has protected me, that I am not prostrate at your feet as you are now at mine.
There are gods who punish pride, and they are to be feared. They are the same ones who have brought me to my knees before you. Do not dishonor yourself as I have. Do not, before you present here, disgrace the royal blood of the Tudors, blood that flows as purely in my veins as it does in yours. Speak to me.
A crown of ivy. The Queen of the May. You're ahead of yourself, lady. It's only February. Or do you imagine those leaves to be the crown of England, for well I know how you covet it. A word of advice, madam. You would do better to make efforts to reclaim your own kingdom rather than attempting to take mine.
Everything. My very life depends on this one chance I have to speak. To open my heart to you so that you might open yours to me. But your looks freeze my heart and your words stop my tongue.
I have agreed to this meeting out of family duty. I should be criticized by my subjects that I stooped so low as to meet with one who would wish to see me dead. But it is not I who instigated this encounter, lady. It is you who desired speech with me. So speak. I'm waiting, sister.
It seems impossible to plead my case without impeaching you. But I have no choice. Although we are equals, you have treated me unjustly. I came to you begging for protection. Instead, ignoring the duty of hospitality and breaking the law of nations, you gave me a prison. And for 19 years have left me in want of necessities even common felons are given. Then without warning, I was dragged before a court that had no right to try me, and sentenced by those who had no right to judge me. But let all those past wrongs be buried. Some other force can take the blame for them, not you and not I. An evil spirit lit a fire of mutual hatred in our hearts when we were but children. The flames grew as we grew into women because ambitious men about us fanned them for their own advantage, fanatics, armed and dangerous. Now that we finally stand face to face, we can put those fires out by speech.
Do not blame dark spirits for our discord, lady. Blame your own black heart and the wild ambition of your Catholic house. You assumed my royal coat of arms and called yourself Queen of England. That caused the quarrel. And your Uncle Cardinal still uses every weapon he has in order to lay siege to my throne. His vile army of priests incite my people to rebellion. But his followers have not won the battlefield, nor stormed the castle. Their arrows were aimed at my heart, and their battle axes at my head, but they have all missed their mark. God has preserved me.
No. It is God who preserves me. Because I know you will never dare go so far as to kill me.
And who will stop me, Lady Stuart? Remember, the members of your own family set all of Europe the example of how to make peace with their enemies. Massacre them all. Oh, well, we know how many innocent Protestant men, women and children were slaughtered on St. Bartholomew's Eve on the orders of your mother-in-law, Catherine de Medici, and the King of France. Why, your family and your church break the bonds of every Christian duty. They even condone the killing of kings. So where is my error if I also practice what they preach? But, sister, answer me this. If I am gracious and release you, what bond will you give me in return? What lock is there to secure your word not to harm me that even St. Peter's keys cannot undo?
If you had made me your heir, as I am by right, you would have had my love in return as a friend, queen and kinswoman.
Make you my heir? What a trap to set myself. While I was still living, you would seduce my people and entangle and dazzle all of the youth of England into a net of civil war to destroy me. Oh, no, lady. I do not choose that my grave be dug while I am still alive.
I would not sacrifice my immortal soul for such worldly gain. Elizabeth Tudor, you can rule your realm in peace. Here before you and these lords, I renounce any claim to it. You have won. I am Mary Stuart, only a pale shadow of a one-time queen, and even paler now that I stand at Elizabeth's son. But what of my son, James Stewart, the boy born of my body? You do not make me your heir, but he must be your successor by blood and by right.
This is no time to talk of the succession, lady.
Very well. Then let us talk of what you really wish. I will not believe it of you that you came here merely to mock or to denounce. No. So say now what you have really come here to say. No? Then I shall speak for you. Royal sister, you have felt the force of my power in your prison. Now enjoy my generosity and go free. Say this to me, Elizabeth, and my freedom, my very life, will be a gift given by your own hand. I am waiting, sister.
So at last, you confess yourself conquered. Are you telling me that your scheming has stopped? That your fanatics and assassins no longer stalk me? How can I be convinced of that?
Because I was never guilty of such acts. I fear for you if you do not speak in my favour, for then not for all the world would I exchange my place for yours.
Even your pleas for mercy hide threats. Are you so presumptuous as to caution me that if I do not spare your life, then my own life is in danger?
You misunderstand me, madam. I was not referring to any peril on your earthly life, but to your immortal one.
I cannot believe you innocent. But this I do believe. You will not bewitch any more foolish men to attempt to remove me and marry you. Oh, that part of your game is very much over. Not even the most ambitious and self-seeking man would dare to risk the dangerous honour of being Mary Stuart's fourth bridegroom, for you would destroy him as surely as you have your previous husbands.
I will not rise to this bait. God grant me constraint not to rake your eyes out, lady.
Oh, so these are the fine manners and much talked of charms of Mary Stuart, huh? That no man can resist and no woman can match? Well, if that is so, then she wins admirers cheaply. But then common clowns easily gain an audience's applause.
Well, this is too much!
Aha! This queen rolls better than a billingsgate.
Oh!
So, Lady Mary, now the royal mask has slipped. Now we see the true face.
I have never hidden my face or my faults. My sins were only human. My transgressions a result of a misled youth. I know that. But I also know that Mary Stuart is a better woman than her reputation makes her. And at least the world knows openly the worst of her unmasked. I have not hidden behind pretense. But what about Elizabeth Tudor? What will the world think when her mask is finally removed? And in time it will be. The veil that hides her hypocrisy will be drawn aside to reveal her true nature. The carefully draped virgin's robe will be ripped away, and all will see how Gloriana, the Virgin Queen, indulged her raging lust like a common whore from this other stew. That is your mother's legacy, Bess, for all the world knows what sin brought Anne Boleyn to the block.
Restrain yourself, my lady. I pleaded with you to be moderate.
I have had enough of moderation. I have endured more than any person can be expected to endure. I will not be a bleating lamb when the lion in me is roaring so loudly as to wake all those who dream in heaven and drown out those who scream in hell. I am free from the cage now, and I will speak. I only have words to use as my weapons, but by God and all the saints, put up your shield, lady, for my words will rain down on you like poisoned arrows! The English have been cheated by a background jagger!
Do not listen to
She is a pretender whose heart is as false and as painted as her face. If law and blood prevailed, it is Elizabeth, the spawn of the great Boleyn and a low-born musician who would be in the dust. You dead, she will have to order it publicly, and she cannot escape the consequences.
You have been too reckless.
I have had my revenge.
And now she will seek hers. You humiliated her. And in front of Lord Leicester. She will never forgive that.
I did not just humiliate her before Lord Leicester. He saw me hurl her from the heights, and now he will use his power over her to persuade her to free me. Go and keep watch, Jane. Mortimer, did you speak with Lord Leicester? Tell me.
I can only say that when you put Elizabeth in the dust, your beauty and grace shone brighter than the sun.
Mortimer, please. I must know what Leicester said. Can I hope for his help?
Hope for nothing from that coward.
Did you not give me my portrait as I asked?
I did, but he is too cautious, too careful with his own life.
So he will do nothing?
You do not need him.
I need his influence over Elizabeth.
You have mine.
What influence have you? You were not even now to be my jailer. Elizabeth has countermanded the order.
My lady, everything has changed now. From the moment you put her down, all hope of negotiation was lost. Action is needed now, and we must risk everything if we are to win everything. It will be tonight.
Tonight? Impossible.
I have men waiting. A priest has heard our confessions and granted us absolution for whatever sins may be committed this night.
No, not this way.
I have made copies of my uncle's keys. We will enter the castle, kill the guards, and free you. Anyone who sees us will be slain, so there'll be no one to talk
Sir
after.
Amyas's men will fight. Your uncle will be the first to stand against you.
Then he will be the first to die.
No.
I have been absolved of murder. I can act without fear of my soul, and by God, I will. Even if I have to kill Elizabeth herself.
No, Mortimer.
What do their lives matter? All that matters is yours and mine, and our love.
Our love.
If a second flood drowned all of creation, I would save you. If the earth was split in two and cast into the void, I would not let go of you.
You frighten me.
Life is fleeting, so is death, but love is eternal. Let them hang, draw, and quarter me, tear me limb from limb, but let me hold you in my arms before they do.
Let me go.
Only a madman would deny what heaven has delivered him. Leicester will not save you, but I will. Even if it costs 1,000 lives, I will have you.
Mortimer, you do not save me. You drag me from one terror to another.
Yourself, sweetheart. They want to see an axe slice through this lovely white neck. So offer the lover with love, what they would destroy.
You rave like a man.
No, I possess you.
I am your queen. I demand you to desist.
You command no one now. Make a scene if you want. Raise the royal voice. See if anyone will respond.
Darnley, I knew you would come back.
I am no Lord Darnley, lady. I am here to serve you, to venture all for you. But bold service deserves a bold reward.
No!
Oh! You once gave yourself in hot blood to Bothwell, so why so cold to me? Well, if it is force and fear that it takes to win you by the infernal gods, I will make you
Get off me!
tremble the
Get off
fly.
me, madman! Get off me! Get off me,
my lady! The Queen! Murdered on the road back to London. Soldiers have surrounded the castle.
He is a lunatic, and there will be killers in the chapel.
Run! Mortimer! We're undone!
Christ, what are you doing here? What is undone?
No time for questions! Run!
Christ, don't tell me what is going on!
Hot-head monk! He fired the shot!
So it is true. Elizabeth is dead and Mary shall rule.
Dead? Who said she was dead? Elizabeth is still alive. It is you and I who are done for! But the shot was badly aimed. The bullet lodged in her cloak. Old Talbot himself disarmed Sauvage, and now the Queen's soldiers are everywhere!
Sauvage?
Yes. He was with us earlier in the chapel when we took confession. Remember? He spoke out, damning the Queen as a heretic, and how the Pope himself would put the men who rid the world of her all the way to sainthood. We were prepared for the longer path, but he took the shortcut. And And when he confesses, we're dead men! There are forests to the north, we can hide there!
You go north, I will ride to London.
Flight is our only option now, come on!
Go!
Yes, Aubespine?
How fares the Queen? I still couldn't believe it. Surrounded by her loyal subjects. An assassin.
The Queen's subject did not try to kill her. The assassin was the subject of your king, a Frenchman.
But surely a mere lunatic.
A papist, Aubespine.
Secretary Davison, draw up the death warrant for Mary Stuart. Have the Earl of Shrewsbury apply the seal of England and then take it to the Queen to sign, and hurry.
Shall be done, my lord.
My lords, I share the rejoicings that God has intervened to thwart the attempt on the life of the Queen. I would see Her Majesty so I may present the King of France's own message of joy.
There is no need.
But my lord, it is my duty.
It is your duty to leave England, and at once.
Why is this?
As a foreign ambassador, you enjoy immunity for today, but not so tomorrow.
But what is my crime?
If I named it, there would be no pardon for it.
I hope you do not think that my diplomatic position.
Hides a traitor.
My lord, you would do well to take care of your tongue.
It is you who would do well to take care, Aubespine. A passport to England was found on this assassin. It was authorized by you.
With so many such papers, I cannot know the secret of those who apply for them.
This monk, this assassin sauvage, he said confession in your house.
My house is always open to my countrymen.
And also to our enemies, it seems.
I do not live for my investigation.
I would fear one, if I were you. As to your house, it is more open than you might like. It has been ransacked by the mob, an arsenal of weapons was found, and now the Londoners are after your blood.
This is an insult to me and the king himself. I warn you, gentlemen, he may tear out the man's contracts over this outrage.
The Queen has already done that. Walsingham, arrange for the Count to be escorted to the coast. Tell your men to keep him well hidden until he is out of London. If he is seen, he will be torn to pieces.
Then I go. And I go willingly from a country which trifles with treaties and bites its thumb as the law of nations. But be assured, gentlemen, the King of France will vent his anger on this round.
Listen, we will be ready.
And so you tear up a treaty, you tried so hard to bring it about, but it was always unpopular, and you got precious little thanks for it. Hardly worth the bother.
I am glad that a torn-up treaty is all that rests on my conscience, and not treason.
Don't understand you.
You lured the Queen to Fotheringhay behind my back.
Behind your back. When have I ever been afraid to act before your face?
Then you did not talk her into it. Was it the Queen, then, who persuaded you to go?
Are you implying?
Robert Dudley's Game of Two Queens. Why ask that about face you made so suddenly in council, declaring that the Stewart was so weak that it would not be worthwhile to spill her blood? But the plan failed when Elizabeth was so viciously mocked. A good plan, Lord Leicester. Well thought out. But now you have been caught out.
I've never taken you for a fool, Burleigh, but now I see I was wrong. We'll go to the Queen, and you can repeat those accusations before her. I challenge you to that, and do not think for a moment I cannot match you in wordplay.
Then I will see you in the presence chamber, shortly. And, Lord Leicester, I hope you do not lose your eloquence on the way there. One more thing, my lord. Your miscarried plan of a meeting in the park had a very productive outcome. For me. As you will soon discover.
Leicester!
What are you doing here?
He's on my track!
Who is?
Burleigh! He knows about Aubespine's links with the assassins.
Everyone knows that already, but what's that to do with me? That is your affair, boy.
My lord, we must...
There is no we, Mortimer. Nothing between you and I.
Burleigh has found you out.
How could he?
You and Elizabeth were not the only visitors to Fotheringhay that day. The afternoon of freedom for Mary gave Burleigh's agents the opportunity to search her rooms.
What?
They found a letter addressed to you.
What did it say?
She begged you to keep your word and asked if you liked the portrait, and she promised you her hand when she is free.
God's blood, man. I'm done for.
Not if you act before Burleigh does. You can still save yourself and Queen Mary. Swear an oath of ignorance and innocence of all of this before Elizabeth, and make excuses to avert the worst. My plans are in pieces, but I will ride to Scotland and rally new support there. Right now, I can do nothing more for Queen Mary, but you still can. So will you?
Yes, good brave Mortimer. I will. You get away to Scotland, as you say, and raise an army there. We will save the Queen together. You must get to safety, though. Let me see the way is clear.
Leicester! Leicester! You Judas!
Take the prisoner away.
No, I could not save her. I could not own her. That was a prize that she promised you when it should have been mine. And you failed her when I would not have. You may take me prisoner, but I am still free to speak secrets about you, sweet Robin, and I will.
Dispatch him.
He has deceived me, Burleigh. He has deceived me. I was wrong to ignore your counsel, but I trusted him so much as to call him my very eyes. I raised Robert Dudley from the son of a traitor to the greatest of the great, and I placed him the nearest my heart.
And he thanked you for it by betraying you to the Stewart.
And they shall both pay the price. She shall die first, and he shall be made to watch. Her blood will stain the straw of the scaffold, and then his own will be mingled with it. He has stood high and proud, but shameful will be his fall. Arrest him and bring him before the court. God's blood, Burleigh, but he shall not only feel the full weight of my wrath, but the full force of the law as well.
He will do everything to clear his name.
How can he? This letter alone convicts him.
Be vigilant, your majesty, when you see him. He may still have a power over you, and his very...
I will not see him.
Admit me to the Queen. Stand aside, damn you. I will see her.
Tell him I will not receive him.
I feel more like telling that, your majesty. Neither would he believe me.
God's blood, man, are you more afraid of him than you are of me? Get out! Burleigh, he may be innocent. That vile whore may have written the letter merely to make me suspicious, to ruin one so dear to me.
I may not see my Queen, but Lord Burleigh
How
may.
dare you force your way in here?
How dare you try and stop me? You cannot command me. No one at court can command me except for my Queen, and she would never refuse to see her sweet Robin.
Get out of my sight, traitor.
Those are not the words of my Elizabeth, Lord Burleigh. You've heard his counsel against you. May I not also be heard?
Very well, speak, wretch. But denials will only make your guilt more convincing.
Dismiss him first. What I have to say to my Queen needs no false witnesses.
Cecil remains, it is my command.
You once granted me the right to speak to your ear alone in private when I requested it. I now wish to exercise that right.
You have forfeited that right, sir, and you will execute nothing without my authority.
A few moments alone, in order to clear my name.
In order to hide the truth with cunning words, you mean? Burleigh remains. Show him the letter.
This is Mary Stuart's hand.
Ah, you recognize the hand. You have had letters from her before. Read it.
Appearance is against me. I admit that, but I cannot be judged only on appearances.
Do you deny that you have been in secret correspondence with the Stewart, that she sent you her portrait, and that you gave her hope of freedom and she promised marriage in return?
If I felt I was guilty of a crime, I would challenge the testimony of my accusers, but in this case, my conscience is clear. What she has written is the truth.
So you condemn yourself?
Burleigh, have the traitor taken to the tower?
I acted only to find out her plots against you, ma'am, and prevent them. I can see now I was wrong to keep a secret from you, but that does not make me a traitor.
You are the son of one. The past treachery of the Dudleys is legendary. I was a fool to forget that and favour you.
It was a dangerous game to play. I knew that, but I also knew I'd take on Mary Stuart and her allies and win. The whole world knows how I hate the Scottish Queen and how I value the position to which my own Queen has raised me. You were right to remind me of my family's background. I would be nothing without you and owe everything to you, and it was for your sake I acted.
If your actions were honourable, why keep them secret?
Lord Burleigh, Treasurer of England. You and that spymaster Walsingham boast of securing the safety of the Queen, that all plots and plans of Mary Stuart and her allies are known to you, and nothing escapes your ever watchful eye. Well, let me tell you this, Burleigh, in spite of all your efforts, Mary Stuart would be free unless I, who the Queen calls her eyes, had not prevented it.
Prevented what?
The Queen in her anguish confided in young Mortimer and gave him a secret command, a command his uncle had refused to carry out. In what direction, my Lord Burleigh, were your eyes looking, when you should have seen that Mortimer was playing us all for fools? He was the agent of the Cardinal of Guise all along.
No.
Yes, it was Mortimer who brought her letter to me. I pretended to take up his cause, and he told me everything about the assassination plan on the return from Fotheringham and the confusion that created, storming the castle, freeing the Stuart and having her crowned. But you do not need to fear him now. He is dead.
I am astonished. And this has all happened in the very short time since we last saw each other.
Yes, I was sorry at his death.
Sorry? You hear that, Burleigh? He was sorry at the death of one who would see me dead.
Yes, I was, because if he was alive, he would be tried, and my innocence proven, and sorry because it was quick. He will not suffer how a traitor should.
How exactly did he die?
I'm well prepared for that question, sir. I have the guard here to explain what happened. Admit this man. Tell the Queen how the prisoner died.
Your Majesty, Your Lordship.
Oh, speak, man.
Me and another guard were summoned by Lord Leicester away from the antechamber, his orders to enter and apprehend a man. When we did so, he struggled and cursed.
Whom did he curse?
He cursed you, Your Majesty, and he blasphemed the church. We tried to restrain him, but he produced a weapon, which he pointed at Lord Leicester. His lordship was in grave danger. I produced my own weapon to deter him, but then he turned his own pistol upon himself. He was quite mad. We were unable to stop him. There was blood everywhere. We were...
Yes, ma'am, the Queen has heard enough.
Suicide. How convenient an end, my Lord Leicester.
Who was it who saved your life, my lady? Was it Burleigh? No. The Lord Treasurer did not even know the danger that surrounded you. I did. I acted.
Part of me believes you, another part does not. I am torn in two, and can only curse her who causes me this anguish.
I only advised you to suspend the sentence against the Steward until another plot had been discovered. And now it has. I add my voice to the others who demand her execution.
What? Another about face? You spin quickly on the spot, Lord Leicester. I am surprised you are not giddy.
It is clear now that the safety of the Queen and the country relies on the removal of the Scot. Her immediate removal.
Your Majesty, may I make a suggestion? As Lord Leicester is so suddenly anxious to see the Steward go to the block, perhaps he should be appointed to oversee the execution.
Me? Why should it be me?
My Lord Leicester, what better way to rid yourself of all suspicion of treason?
Advice well given, Burleigh. Let it be so.
It would not be fitting for a man of my rank to undertake such a charge. Surely it would suit Burleigh better. A servant of the state rather than Earl of Leicester, a peer of the realm. Also a man so close to the Queen. Perhaps it would be better if I had no knowledge of the act itself. Yet, if it is the Queen's wish, I will accept.
It is my wish. And it is also my wish that Burleigh shall share it with you. Bring me the warrant.
At once, Your Majesty.
Walsingham, what is happening?
News of the attempt on your life has spread through the city, Your Majesty, as have rumours that the Queen of Scots is about to be freed by the Papists and proclaimed Queen. The mob is up and demanding that you deal with Mary.
Oh, they would force their monarch's hand? What impudence! Call out the guard and disperse them. Really?
Majesty, the warrant.
Oh no, this is not the time.
Your Majesty, this is precisely the time. Listen to your subjects and act.
Are these the united voices of all my subjects, or merely the rabble rousers? If I listen to these cries now, very different cries may soon be raised, which would condemn and condemn me.
True, Your Majesty. Be strong and be patient. Do not give in to the gathering outside or the haste of these lords. Is that it? Has it been signed?
No, my lord.
No? Well, let this go no further. It's too dangerous. Now is not the time.
Oh, good Shrewsbury, help me. You see, I am being forced.
It is only scaremongering that has provoked the people, fear and anger, and you are trembling with fear yourself. You cannot make a sound judgment in such a state.
The judgment was already pronounced at the trial. It is now time to carry out the sentence. This is not a matter of being forced, Talbot, but of mere formality. You must sign the warrant, Majesty.
The crowd is growing. They're calling for arms. They're threatening to storm the palace gates.
Help us!
How many more soldiers to disperse them?
I might not have enough.
I'll find more!
You see, Shrewsbury, I must sign. I have no choice.
Your signature will decide your future. You may well be signing away your own life as well as hers. You've considered this matter for years now, calmly and rationally. Do not rush to its end in the heat of the moment.
Oh, wait. Very well, wait. Hold off, discuss, delay, pussyfoot. Do nothing until civil war engulfs the country or another assassin strikes. Your Majesty, God has already saved you 3 times. The next murder might succeed, because to expect God to save you again would be asking for a miracle.
Let me continue, Your Majesty. I beg you, listen to an old man's reason.
Very well, speak, Talbot. The rest of you stay quiet.
You're afraid of the living Mary Stuart. They'll be more afraid of the dead one. People are fickle. They hate her now, but if she dies by your order, they will make her a martyr. When you pass through the streets of your capital, loving crowds come out to greet you. But if you do this deed, when you go out, the streets will be empty. Eyes will peer through the shuttered windows, and everyone will be thinking, whose head is safe now that she's cut off the Queen?
If you had not thrown yourself in front of me today, but had let the assassin's bullet find its mark, then all these troubles would be ended. No more doubt, no more questions, and I would be at rest in a peaceful grave. It is heaven's decree that one queen's death secures the other's life. Why could not I be the one to die? I have never worn the crown for my own sake, but for the good of my subjects. And if they think that they would lead happier lives with that false and fawning Stewart on the throne, then I will happily abdicate. Perhaps I was never meant to rule. The leaders of nations should be stern, and I am soft. The royal duty demanded by that unsigned warrant, it requires strength, and it only makes me realize how weak I am.
Your Majesty, this is no way to talk in a time of crisis. You must lead to protect the country and the church.
Always the politician. Burleigh, have you no sympathy? My lady, you need to rest.
Your
Come with
Majesty,
me.
you must take my advice.
Be silent, Shrewsbury.
Leave me, all of you. I no longer need your counsels. I will lay my troubles before the one true judge. I will pray, and I will do as God directs me. Secretary Davison, remain close at hand. I may have need of you. Dear God Almighty, am I simply a slave to my subjects, courting the favour of fairgoers whose only fancy is for a juggler's tricks? But kings cannot be clowns, trying to please a fickle crowd. This is not a matter for God, but politics. I have always shunned despotism, but in so doing have I tied my hands so I cannot now commit this one act. If I were a tyrant, as my father was, I could have her killed without a shred of conscience. Not my father. All the powers of Europe are combining to destroy me. The Pope has promised my killer safe passage to heaven. The King of France betrays me with a kiss. The King of Spain is preparing an armada to invade. And I must face this male alliance as a woman, one whom they condemn as a bastard with no right to rule, and whom they seek to replace with one who carries no talent. But which woman makes the better ruler? I rule because I have the support of my people. And if the people say that it is necessary to cut off my royal cousin's head, then I must. But yet I cannot do it. Dear God, I am afraid to do it. No. I have done with suffer or strike. Away with suffering! I will strike! I will strike! Secretary Davison. The warrant.
You have signed it. So it is decided.
I have decided nothing. A signature alone cannot kill.
But Your Majesty, your signature on this document means everything. It kills as quickly as lightning strikes. The commissioners will put it once to Fotheringhay. Mary Stuart dies as soon as I hand this warrant over.
Indeed, Davison, but not before you do.
Your Majesty.
God has placed a weighty matter in your hands, Sir William. Pray to him for guidance as to any decision you make.
Your Majesty, what would you like done? Am I to give this to the commissioners or not?
Decide that for yourself, Sir William.
A servant cannot decide a queen is to die. The slightest misunderstanding of your will and I commit a terrible crime. Your Majesty, please tell me in words I cannot possibly misunderstand what you mean me to do with this document.
Its very name declares its meaning, a death warrant.
So I'm to give it to Lord Burleigh.
I did not say that.
I am to keep hold of it then.
If you do, that is at your own risk, and you must answer for your actions.
Holy Mother of God, you must tell me.
Must! Must is not a word to use to princes.
Please tell me what you'd like done.
What I would like done, Sir William, is to have nothing more to do with this wretched business.
Tell me.
I have told you. Now no more. God's blood, man, no more.
Your Majesty. I am a simple and open man who understands only straight speech and plain ways, not the ways of politics which twist truths and is full of double meanings. Please be patient and guide me. If you will not, then take back this paper, for it burns my hands like fire. Do not ask me to act because I don't know what you expect of me.
What I expect, Sir William, is that you will act as a servant of the crown and discharge the duty of your office.
Is it signed? Did she sign it, man? Give it to me.
I cannot.
Why not?
The Queen has not yet told me what she wants done.
She has signed it. That is all she needed to do.
She has not ordered me to hand it over.
I warn you, Davison. I will ruin you if you don't.
I will be ruined if I let you take it.
Give it to me, you fool.
Come and sit. Can you help me finish this embroidery?
I cannot think of silks or stitches tonight, Jane. Why is it so silent?
Everyone is asleep, as you should be.
This place never sleeps, and tonight especially. All eyes are watching and all ears are listening. Any moment they may bring news I am about to die. But it's not that I'm afraid of. In fact, it would almost be welcome to the alternative. I'm afraid of what Mortimer will attempt tonight, but I'm even more terrified of what will happen if he succeeds.
It's past 3 in the morning. If Mortimer's gone ahead with his reckless plans, he would have done so by now. Come and sit. Advise me if I've stitched this flower evenly.
Jane, will you never learn to work a needle? Give it to me to undo and you can start again. Sir Aeneas, what is happening?
I must apologise for this disturbance so late at night, my lady. It is not of my doing or by my order.
Is Mortimer behind this?
Mortimer? Why would he be? He is in London on some business.
Then in God's name, what is going on?
It is the carpenters working in the great hall. They are building the scaffold.
Dear Melville, you come.
To say a sad farewell from her former steward and friend.
Why did God ever allow this day?
Be strong, Lady Kennedy. You need your strength to support her.
She does not need my support. When she was told she suddenly had the strength of 1,000 men. Perhaps, when we know we are to die, the soul's passage from the earthly to the eternal is done in the twinkling of an eye, even though we may live in our bodies a while longer. She showed a calm I thought none capable of.
Where is she now?
At prayer.
Should I go to her?
She wished to be alone, but she knows you're here.
Why all this sadness? You should be rejoicing as I am. The end of Mary Stuart's troubles on earth is close. Her prison finally opened and her soul is soon to fly to heaven. Dear Melville, how glad I am that you have come, so I won't be alone at the moment. James, how has life treated you since we last saw each other in happier times in Scotland? Your wife, your children, how grown up will they be now? I have often worried about your well-being.
My only worry was that I was unable to serve you.
Banish that thought. And my son, have you seen James?
He is well, and rules Scotland like a true Stewart king.
My one real regret is that I cannot say goodbye to him. And my Didier, my chamberlain, is he still alive? And my ladies, oh, my Marys, how are they? I did hear that Mary Seton had married, but I know nothing of the others. How I miss them. Do you still remember the song Mary Livingston made up? Because it was so amusing that my ladies in waiting and I shared the same name.
The Queen has 4 Marys, as fair can be. There's Mary Seton and Mary Beaton and Mary Carmichael and me.
I am to die in a land of strangers. Oh, help me, Melville, I am fearful in my hour of need. But I grow maudlin, and that I do not intend to do. Therefore, to business. James, I ask you to go to France to convey my blessings to my brother-in-law and my uncle of Guise, and send a message to His Holiness. Tell them I died a true Catholic.
I will.
James. They have taken everything else from me, but I have this for you to keep. I made it in the hours when you were sleeping and I could not. To be amusing when there seemed no other source of amusement, I stitched a large cat toying with a helpless little mouse. The colour of the cat as ginger as Elizabeth's wigs. The little mouse just grey, the colour of my real hair. And there across the top, in my end is my beginning. And so it shall be, because my son, not hers, will be King of England and Scotland when she is dead. So how can I be afraid of leaving this world when I leave that legacy? Go now. I will talk with Melville a moment. James, I am frightened. Soon I will stand before my God, but unconfessed. They tell me I may take religious comfort from a Protestant padre. I refuse. But good Melville, Christ said, when 2 or 3 are in my name assembled, I am with them. What makes a priest the Lord's interpreter? A pure soul. You have that. Well then, even though not ordained, I ask you to be my priest, to hear my confession and from your lips receive absolution. Do you think God will allow that?
He will do more than that. He sets up an altar in your prison, and he gives you a true priest.
How so?
I was once your servant, your majesty. But since I have been ordained as a priest of our Holy Mother Church.
So at the very edge of death, heaven sends a blessing. When every earthly champion has deserted and betrayed me, the Lord takes up my prison bars to free my soul.
Mary, Queen of Scotland, have you examined your heart? Will you swear that you are prepared to speak the truth in confession?
My heart is open.
What sins lie on your conscience since your last confession?
I was consumed with hatred.
Do you now repent?
I do.
What other sins arm your heart against your soul?
Vengeance.
Do you now repent?
I do.
What other sins trouble you?
A bloody crime I have previously confessed. Yet now I am to face my God, it returns to rear up, black and ugly. I knew of and condoned the murder of my husband, the King of Scotland, and I gave my hand to his murderer.
His Holiness has already given you absolution for that.
Yes, but I do not feel free from it.
And that is all your confession?
it is.
Think, daughter, an incomplete confession is a sin against God himself.
I have hidden nothing.
Are you not concealing the crime that has condemned you? You have said nothing of your part in Babington's plot to murder Elizabeth. You are shortly to die because of that. Will you condemn yourself to eternal death by not confessing it?
I am prepared for God's judgment. My confession is ended.
Consider again. Our hearts easily deceive us.
It is true I asked my allies to free me from prison, but never by deed or intent did I plot Elizabeth's death.
So your secretaries bore false witness against you?
Whatever they have said, God will judge them for it. What I have said is true.
Then you mount the scaffold, innocent of the crime for which you are about to die.
I do.
Therefore, child, I absolve you of all sin. You are joined with God, and your soul shall enter his heaven and have everlasting life. You have one last ordeal on this earth. You must suffer it without hatred.
I cannot hate now. And Lord Leicester, I understood he was to attend?
He will be here shortly, ma'am. In the meantime, I am ready to take your last wishes.
The Lady Kennedy is to be free to leave Fotheringhay without fear of arrest.
She will be.
As I am not to be buried in consecrated ground, I ask that Lord Melville be allowed to take my heart to my family in France.
That will be allowed.
Tell my sister, Elizabeth of England, that I forgive her for my death.
I will.
My lady, it disturbs my conscience that you have not seen the Dean. He is waiting outside.
I have no need of a dean. I have already made my peace with God. Sir Aeneas, I have caused you much worry over many years and recent sorrow, albeit unwittingly. I only hope in your grief over the loss of young Mortimer you do not hate me.
I do not, my lady.
Is it time? Jane, Melville, walk with me.
The Lady Kennedy must remain here.
No, she will attend me.
Her tears will
She will
cry.
not weep or cry out. Allow the gentle arms of the woman who has seen me through so much suffering in this world assist me to leave it.
Agree, Burleigh.
Very well.
Then I am ready.
Always defiant. Read of the Catholic martyr, even to your very end.
No, Sir William. It is my very beginning. Lord Leicester, will you keep your word to me? You once promised me your love and your arm to lead me out of my prison. Well, the day has come for me to leave it, and here you are in my prison cell. How precious that freedom and your love would have been. But I no longer need you, and that thought no longer tempts me. I am being unkind and making you uncomfortable. Forgive me. Farewell, my lord. And if you can, live a happy life. You have been bold, sir, to court two queens. But you turned away from the one with the poor and tender heart in the hope of winning the hard and wealthy one. I only hope your prize will not prove to be your punishment. Jane, Melville, you will guide me to my freedom. I need have nothing more to do with this earth.
Walsingham, where are Burleigh and Leicester? Answer me.
I do not know, Your Majesty.
Oh, God's teeth, man, you are paid to know everything.
I only know they both left London before dawn.
Have I shot an arrow that is so quickly seeking its target? No, they've not yet had my authority.
Your Majesty?
Go now, but ask Secretary Davison to attend me. If she is indeed dead, then I have won. After all, who dares to say I did it? If any dares say it in private, by God, I have public tears enough ready to shed. Talbot, it must be weighty business to keep an old man from his bed so late at night. You should not keep such hours, it does you no good. You look troubled.
My heart is heavy with doubts
Doubts.
about the guilt of Mary Stuart.
Go on.
I went to the Tower today to see her secretaries. I needed to put my own mind at rest and test their evidence again, but what I saw was horrible. Their souls in torment, their bodies bloody and broken, their minds out of their wits. When they saw me, they begged for news of their mistress and to confirm or deny that she had been tried and sentenced. When I told them, they flew at each other's throats like dogs, each denouncing the other. The guards separated them. One of them ran to the window and shouted down to anyone prepared to listen that they had lied. That Queen Mary's letters to Babington were forged, that she had never dictated them, that she was innocent and only they guilty.
These are the rantings of lunatics who have been tortured on the rack. The recantations of madmen mean nothing.
Yes, but in this madness there may be some truth. Your Majesty, I ask you for the last time, do not be over hasty. In the light of these events, you must order a new inquiry, but Mary Stuart must be retried.
Very well, I agree. She shall have a new trial. There is still time. And this time, Shrewsbury, I promise you, there shall not be a shadow of doubt whichever way it goes. Davison, the document I gave you yesterday for safekeeping, fetch it, please.
Documents? Which documents?
You know which document. The one that I was forced to sign. I gave it into your care and no one else's in order to stall for time. Why the hesitation, man? Where is the document? Fetch it. God's teeth, man, bring it!
I cannot! I no longer have it.
Well, where is it?
Lord Burleigh has it.
Oh, God in heaven.
God's blood, man. Is this how you obey your orders? Did I not give you strict orders to keep it in safekeeping?
No, you didn't, Your Majesty.
So you call me a liar? Did I tell you to give it to Lord Burleigh?
Not expressly in those words. However, I interpreted.
You dared to interpret my words. I warn you, sir, if evil has come of your action, you will pay for it with your life. You see how they abuse my words, Talbot? What have you to say?
If Lord Burleigh has acted without your knowledge and authority, he must answer in a court of law.
Long live Queen Elizabeth, and may all her enemies die like the Stewart.
Burleigh, did I give you the warrant personally?
No, Your Majesty, Secretary Davison. No, not by choice. He snatched it from me.
Not given freely, neither in my name.
As such, Your Majesty, I merely understood.
You understood nothing and assumed everything. You dared to carry out the verdict without knowing my will. Oh, the verdict was just. The whole world knows that. As they know that I am free from blame over it. But you acted before I had the chance to show clemency. And that is the reason why you and you alone are to blame for the blood that was spilled this day. Resign your office, Burleigh, and remove yourself from my presence.
But Your Majesty.
God may forgive you, Burleigh. I never shall. And as for you, sir, you have betrayed a sacred pledge entrusted to your care. For that reason, you shall be taken to Tyburn and hanged. However, I will be merciful. I am of the nature of the lion, and I do not descend to the destruction of mice. Leave the court and hide, Sir William. And in case I change my mind, hide where I cannot find. Well, old man, you and Lord Leicester are all that is left to me now.
Your Majesty, I've been in your service these last 12 years, and I am weary. I shall return to you the great seal of England as I wish to retire to the quiet of my estates.
No, Talbot, you cannot leave me. Not now.
I'm too old. My fingers are stiff, my hands too weak to seal any more of your royal deeds.
So the one who saved my life from the assassin's bullet now forsakes me.
I saved your life, but I could not save your heart. Live long, Your Majesty. Your rival is dead, and you have nothing to fear now.
Walsingham, send for Lord Leicester. I have much need of his company.
He has left court, ma'am.
Well, have him recalled.
I cannot. He has sailed for France, Your Majesty.